The area around the windows is basically, it's not even standing room only. It would have been sweltering in there in the summer heat, but they all wanted to hear Jesus teach. They wanted to be healed by him. They wanted to be close to him. And it says in verse 2, immediately, in a small town, that's no kidding, immediately many gathered together so that there was no longer room to receive them, not even near the door. And he preached the word to them. So you have friends and not so friends with some of the religious leaders because they're watching too. They've heard some things about this teacher. They've heard about him from the south. He's preaching some interesting things. And they're keeping an eye on him because they're not sure. He's healing people, but we're not sure about him. And of course, word had gotten around that he was a healer in verse 3. And it says, and they came to him, bringing a paralytic. Lost my place. And they came to him, bringing a paralytic who was carried by 4 men. And Mrs. White tells him that this poor guy had lost all hope. He had become paralyzed because of sin in his life. He had gone to the religious leaders for help, and they condemned him to God's wrath, because clearly he deserved what he was getting. And so he had fallen into complete despair and depression and lost all hope. And maybe he had heard about Jesus healing people before, but Jesus had left Capernaum before he could get to them. And now he's back, and his friends are making sure that he gets to them, but there's one problem. What's the problem? They can't get in. And you can just see them going up to the door. With, they're holding he'd be on a pallet, maybe 2 sticks, and he's got his bed wrapped around that. And he's laying on there, and his friends each have one corner. And they go up to the door. Hey, we've got Harry here. We need in. There's no way. It's packed in here. Can't you make room? No, there's no room. Seriously, we got the kids on the floor. They can't get up. Once they stand up, they won't sit down. We can't do it. No, sorry. So you can see the guys with Harry going around looking in the windows. No, they're not kidding. Everybody's sitting in there packed together like clowns in a Honda. We're not getting in. What are we going to do? I don't know. So they could not, verse 4, they could not come near him because of the crowd. So you can just see him. You know how when you come to a hard problem and you have the conference, you're standing back. So what are we going to do? You can just hear Harry going, it's all right. We can do it later. No, Harry. We're not making you wait any longer. You've been sick long enough, and he's here. We're figuring this out. Well, we could scream real loud and see if he'll come out. No, it might cause a stampede. Yeah, you're right. Well, we could wait till he comes out. No, too many people in the way. Okay. You know Mary. She'll be walking next to him and all of her kids, and we won't get through. Oh, you're right. Okay. So what do we do? Well, we could go up on the roof. And what? Yell real loud? No. We could go through the roof and let him down. I've got some rope back in my garage. It's really strong stuff. Got it at Menards, nylon. It's not going to break. And we can let him down, and then Jesus will have no choice but to heal him. And Harry's going, no, Harry, you're getting healed today. Stop complaining. So the friends decided to do this. Now, houses in Capernaum would not have been like houses here. You don't have the nice little gabled roofs. Houses in Galilee at this time were completely different. They were basically built of stone, and they were covered with adobe, like in the Southwest. And in a lot of the Uncle Arthur stories, they show them with 2 stories, which some of them did. But the one thing is, they didn't in northern Galilee at that time. In Luke, it says there were tiles. That might be a mistranslation because they didn't have tile roofs in Galilee at that time. It's a mistranslation for mud and clay. They had to go. You had a layer of grass mesh laid over some rafters. So if you can picture the ceiling, there were rafters. Then there was a layer of grass mesh over that, and a layer of clay and chalk over that. And I have this written down because I knew I'd forget. And then a dry mixture of cloth and earth and mash, which was applied while the plaster was still damp. And then over that, there was a waterproof layer of lime. And over each one of these nice layers, you had a roller, a stone roller that you made so it was flat. And basically you had a mud brick roof. And you had to renew this every year for two reasons. One, the heat and the rainy season were going to break them up. And two, what happens when you have a dirt roof? Let me rephrase that. What happens if you don't clean out the gutters?